Oh, welcome, folks. It's Rauta's monthly stream each March 2024, technically speaking, 9th of March. And there is no particular topic for today, as you can all already figure. You have already figured it out. Obviously, looking forward to your questions, answering some of them, most of them, I guess, and, well, having beer. Now, I was supposed to have my. Beer glass, but I guess I left it in the kitchen and I'm too lazy right now to go outside and get it. So I'll just do it with here. Today, got some beer I bought from Nordic Metal Cruise 2024. This is Blood Falls. Looks pretty metallic if you ask me. This is Double India Pale Ale. Means it's going to be strong. Or 8% or so. Here is the information regarding the brewing company Asvex. I don't know about you people, but to me it looks like this is very very metallic. Anyway, let's taste Blood Falls and indeed welcome to the stream. Let's see how this folds out. If there is enough people asking interesting questions, obviously this will be a longer one. If there is nobody out there asking for me for comments, then I guess we will be done in 30 minutes or so. Yeah, this smells nice. I'm already kind of a thirsty. I probably should drink a little bit of water before I get it done. So be right back. Now let's get it going. As you people know, those who are frequent visitors of these streams, you already know that I usually prefer to have a real beer glass with me instead of like this one, Rammstein Europe Stadium Tour 2019. 5 years ago, when they played a great show here before everything was shut down in the world of COVID and all. This is one of the souvenirs from there, but it's usually there as my water drinking glass. And now I'm just getting this quality beer, hipster beer, if you will, craft beer, whatever. And you're not gonna see me sipping from a real beer glass, but that's how it sometimes goes. Beer as a beer. Hello, Serbia. How are you doing, guys? I don't know how it is right there, but at least in Finland, southern Finland or southwest Finland, where I'm living, this is the kind of a early spring, which means can really show it to you. I mean, it's dark right there, but I mean, it's finally the moment where just kind of get the snow and ice melting away. We're getting ready for spring, which means less clothing, more getting outside and all. And as such, things are looking nice. Now, something that I could really recap is what's going on in the Rauta headquarters, if you really can call it that. I mean, literally nothing special is happening here, but obviously last weekend there was Turku Saatanale festival. By the way, I forgot to put this. Whoa, more light. Last weekend there was this Turku Saatanale, Turku for Satan festival 2024, or Turku Saatanale XI 11th edition. And obviously there will be a real recap of the whole festival, but I guess I can call it successful. First of all, we got to play as the second band on Friday evening, that is we as Nightside, and I think our gig was pretty good. Something that I already shared with Nightside social media, that is Facebook, some YouTube link, and some photos. More will be updated as I have more time and shit. And of course, the whole festival as such was really, really successful. Lots of friends, and I get to do all the four interviews I was aiming for. Meaning, Saturday it was Dagestra from Germany. Nowadays, are originally from Kyrgyzstan, but having people from Russia and Iran originally. We are going very, very deep in a way about religions, black metal, ideology, different instruments, and all that stuff. And of course, the more international lineup. I could say the Dark Esther interview was indeed, in my opinion anyway, very, very interesting one and should be probably, opening people's eyes about the band and how things really can get quite messy, even to a level of death when we're talking about extreme metal played in certain countries and all. And then we had Deus Mortem from Poland, their fierce black metal, which is kind of connected to certain other bands I've interviewed in the past. It's interesting piece about music, Poland, and all. On Friday, I did a Sex Trash interview with a translator from the Outlaw band, which I interviewed later on. Now, the Sex Trash interview is already something that became quite short. I am not actually sure if I already shared it with Patreon guys, but if not, I will share it this weekend. So people supporting the channel will already get to see it. It's quite short and sweet. And the reason is doing an interview with a translator in the mix is kind of a messy and, you know, makes it kind of complicated. You ask questions in English, then it gets to another guy doing Portuguese and English, and then asking the questions to the artist, and the artist itself is answering me in Portuguese, which I barely can understand more than two words. Then the translator gets that back into me in English, and you get the whole idea. So takes quite a lot of time to get the message through to the artist itself. But interviewing such a classic old school underground name as Sex Trash is pretty interesting as such. I mean, they do come from the 80s, so they were way before there a lot of other bands came into the play. Of course, they're not really black metal band, but more like dead trash. But still, nonetheless, interesting band. And then I did the Outlaw interview after that, where we talked a lot about Outlaw being from Brazil, not sounding like Brazil, but more like a Swedish black metal band in a way, like Watain and Dissection having a baby. And what is also curious is that they have a Finnish drummer, so which are an international lineup in that sense also. Anyway, I could say that to summarize the whole idea is that four different kind of bands from four different countries. Well, three different countries because Extras and Outlaw are both from Brazil, and one Polish and one Kyrgyzstian band. So anyway, quite an interesting lineup if you ask me. But then again, I'm biased. Now, in roughly 3 weeks, less than that, if I'm checking out the calendar right here. Let me go 1, 2, 3. Well, let's call it like 2.5 weeks. Goddamn, time really flies. 2.5 weeks, me and my camera people and my band member from Nightside, we are going as 4 piece to Oslo, Norway Inferno Festival 2024. And currently I'm trying to get done getting contacts and all for the bands I'm going to interview. So far, I haven't reached any. So it's always like, I don't know, kind of annoying the couple of weeks before you're going to a festival when you don't have the contacts all set and done. I don't know which interviews I will be doing. So I won't be dropping the name for this stream. But once I have something done, excuse me, I will obviously update Patreon site about the interviews. So I'm planning about 2 per day, 8 in total. And this is something that I'm trying to do. I won't promise it yet, but if you saw what I did with the Nordic Metal Cruise with my cameraman Arto, we did a kind of a tour around the Nordic Metal Cruise boat, which means you get to see how the boat looks like, how the whole cruise looks like, what kind of places there are, how people are feeling about it. This time I am trying to get it done so that we can actually show you a little bit of Oslo, a little bit that Inferno Festival and all that stuff. This was something that we were planning to do already with Turku Saatanala Fest, but for a reason or two, didn't unfortunately happen. So let's see how it goes. I tried to do more these festival coverages so that we were actually around the venue, around the place, asking random people random questions. So you just see the place beyond just me talking about it and all. And of course, there will be photo coverage. For example, my cameraman Arto and camerawoman Elsa, they often take photos from the places, and their galleries, respective galleries, will show you a lot of photos. But I mean, it's not exactly the same as walking around and doing video coverage. But let's say the future looks dark, bright, that is, bright in a way that how we, see there's interesting events happening, but dark in a way that we're gonna do some dark bands and all. But as far as I can tell, nothing is certain when it comes to certain interviews at Inferno Festival. But what it's worth, last year I think we did six, and 2 years ago we did eight interviews. So it should be possible, even though a couple of weeks before the actual festival, it seems like nothing is really certain, nothing is really agreed upon, and all. So it will be interesting to see. And by the time we reach May, obviously we have Steelfest. So far, nothing for April, so I don't know how it will be. But at least for the coming weeks, we have interviews dropping every week. So Hell Reaper interview already came out yesterday, and then there should be Sex Trash, Outlaw, Darkestra, and Deus Mortem for next 4 weeks. And I will be doing some short videos from the Inferno. So those days when I'm there, I won't be scheduling any normal videos for Rauta channel, but the kind of short videos like I did last year. So we shall see how it goes. Okay, thank you for joining this stream. Now I will actually read your comments and start answering your questions. Tag me Rauta like a couple of people already did if you want to really get my attention, because I will see my name highlighted there. It's for easier for me to just answer a question rather than reading every line here, because sometimes you people really comment to one another and all. It's time to take a sip of beer after 11 minutes of talking. Hello, Carl Jekyll from Belgium. Fine country, being there a couple of times, actually, been a couple of times to Belgium so far. So now I'm reading your comments in case you're wondering why my eyes are a little bit here rather than there, reading your comments and trying to get it done. Buzzard John is asking how I'm doing. Thank you for asking. Doing fine. Kind of a missing not being in Spain now like I was last year for a few months. I mean, Spanish weather, Spanish food versus Finland. God damn it, Spain wins like clear score. Yeah, Mohibi Inferno is definitely going to be fun. Now it's get all like blurry. Hello, Nevermore Rules. How are you doing, man? Hello, Voltmont. Brian Mons, have no fear, I'm here. Have no fear, I have beer. That's how it rhymes. Well, you said it with beer. Anyway, Cecilia is eating a brownie. Why don't you take a picture of that brownie and send us, make us all envious and all? Oh, that's a good question. 666 Northbound asking about Nightside stage outfit. I describe it as such. You know how reptiles are, snakes and lizards. They are they're nesting, in an egg. And that's, they are not really born. They just like come out of an egg. And I would use this metaphor for Nightside after the comeback. We were nesting. We were really in the egg phase with our ropes and all. It felt kind of a comfortable, but at the same time, also maybe it wasn't that fitting for us. I mean, no regrets and all, but it served its purpose for a few shows for a couple of years to have this robe look. But I think Mr. Aspa of Clandestine Blaze and what have nailed it pretty much that Nightside is more metallic band rather than a kind of a mystic robe band. So maybe this kind of a way of getting rid of the ropes and entering there with more like a classic black metal style, corpse paints and chains and what have you. Maybe it's more us, really. And realizing that we have like three guys who really did the gym who are a little bit more buff than your average black metal head, I was like, maybe we should take that benefit. I mean, it's not like we want to go the whole blasphemy thing and all, but maybe adding that layer of our, well, trained bodies, I guess, and going that respective style, more violent, adding chains and bullet belts. Maybe that would be more relatable to our music because it's very aggressive. It's fast tempo. Certain lyrics are quite violent and they're quite nihilistic. So maybe that kind of aggression, you know, through training, through the music, through the stage look would actually, fit together, make more sense. So, like I said, no regrets, whatever we did before, but I guess this classic style is more fitting and putting that muscle on the front row, if you know what I mean. Um, by no means we are trying to be original for sake of originality. I mean, not our music is not that. Our stage performance not supposed to be that, but more like leaning towards stuff that feels genuine. No posing, just real deal. So in that sense, I guess we are a little bit towards Marduk in a way, in that sense, having this warlike aggression, fast tempo, drums going very high tempo at some points, and also bringing this more aggressive outlook, if you will. But like I said, also, respecting our 1990s thing with that. So there's kind of a like half this and half that, if you know what I mean. So that's, I think, Nightside will be from now on. Who knows if it will change over time? Can't really predict, can't really plan it too much. It's just what we do. And all I can say is that fits us ourselves well. If somebody likes it, great. If somebody doesn't like it, it doesn't really matter. And always, of course, music first. Bands should always be music first. And whatever corpse paints, whatever chains or bullet belts or spikes and leather, that's secondary. I mean, of course, it affects, when bands really look cool or dangerous or, I don't know, interesting on stage. Of course, that goes hand in hand. I mean, it really supports the music. I've seen some bands that are on album really good, and when you see them on stage, you kind of wish you never saw them on stage because you're getting totally different kind of vibe with that. I mean, I'm not talking about getting traumatized by looks of some bands, but yeah, there are some bands I wish they only looked more metal on stage when their music is already that. Like Audun from Iceland, they looked like they were coming from university or college class with their, scarves and shit and normal jackets. While the music is quite aggressive, modern black metal. Or Immolation a few years back at Steel Fest, they had like button shirts, and it looked like they had a Microsoft Teams meeting, and then they just had to run towards the stage and with the button shirts, and I was like, where is this evil and dark death metal? Where is the aggression and all when you look like you're coming from a school meeting or teams teams meeting, whatever? So I mean, gave kind of like, nah, this is kind of a lame live. And also Emperor last year, I mean, don't get me wrong, as much as I love early Emperor stuff, those guys looked like so unmotivated on stage. It was more like they're coming straight from a music lesson to play a stage. Like, where is the feeling that this is a black metal show? Or their keyboard player who was like taking selfies. He was more like more busy with taking selfies than playing keyboards. Having less kind of a smiley one man dance show rather than just getting majestic with the keyboards. And I was like, that's just like mind raping me. that the whole thing. Like I'm thinking about songs like Innoa Satana or whatever you have in the Nightside Eclipse, all that dark mysticism coming from the 90s, and then it's just done by some dancing clown, really. uh I felt like the band betrayed me, if you know what I mean. I'm not saying like the whole band was like that, but really it was totally different, wrong kind of feeling for me. And as such, I was like, fuck this, I'm not gonna finish the whole show and all. So of course live looks really really are important when it comes to delivering something to the audience. So when there's too much contrast between what you show and what you play, what you stand for, uh, that can really just ruin it. But yeah, let's not let's not get too deep into that. Oh, thank you, Brian Mons, once again for your donation. Thank you so much. This money really really helps us to get those trips done. Like for example, now we are building a budget for Beyond the Gates festival for August. So every small amount counts, and now it seems starts to look bright, getting our asses to Beyond the Gates for more coverage, more interviews and all. So thank you so much. All right, reading your comments again. Now that was a kind of a long answer to these Nightside stage look and all. Yeah, never more. Never more, never more rules, man. Yeah, I think James was cool. James of Hell Ripper, like no shame in mentioning bands that might seem a little bit weird or unexpected, like these Red Hot Chili Peppers. I mean, I don't like the band at all, but I mean, it's cool that he can be just like, hey, I like the band and all that stuff. That is cool. So I mean, people shouldn't be too worried about, like, if they like a band and someone else doesn't, or someone else says like, hey, I think it's a poser band. So what? If you like it, be proud of it. I mean, it's no contest really. So you support what you support, and that matters. What else? Brian Mons asked me a question. Sorry, Brian Mons, I was a little bit delayed with my answer to the Nightside one. Brian Mons asked me what albums am I anticipating coming out this far, more in the loop and all that stuff. Now, to be honest, this year seems like a little bit with a fog of war. Really, so far I don't have any cool albums to wait for this year. Um, I mean, there are probably some really really cool ones coming out, but the thing here is sometimes they are announced way too late. That is when they're dropped and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, did something really happen already? Or then I just get kind of forget them. Like for example, the newest Inquisition album. I think it's already out. I haven't still listened to it, so can't really comment it. But I'm really looking forward to listen to it. I'm supposed to get a copy from Agonia Records, so maybe I will get to review it later on. Hopefully before Steelfest, where they're supposed to play, but you never know. And now, thank you. I want to thank SK so much for big donation. Sorry, thank you so much. Um, this really, really, really means a lot to me. Donating and this kind of big sum. I mean, I'm really, really happy and thankful for your help and donation. People, don't get me wrong. This is not about begging money, but I think give credit to where credit is due. When people like SK or Brian Mons here are donating rather big sums of money, it means we can use this money to buy our plane tickets and hotels, which are the two biggest things to concern whether Rauta crew gets to go to a festival. So, like said before, and I'm gonna repeat it on this stream as well. The thing is, when people make sure there is enough, money for Rauta to travel, means you all get to enjoy more interviews. I mean, assuming you enjoy interviews in the first place. So by no means, don't get me wrong. All donations are totally voluntary, and if you don't like, um, YouTube doing that by, donating money, you want to help, and there is also this possibility. I will link it. Hold on. If you want to support, in a way that you want to do it outside YouTube, but you still want to participate, you can also use this PayPal thing. That would be directly to me. But like I said, don't stress about it. Don't worry about it. These interviews will happen if I just have the budget, despite whether people donated and whatnot. Like, this is how the world works. People who have maybe more excess money or more easy to help the thing, help the cause, whatever you want to call it, they will do the favor to all of you. So it's not like I will be buying burgers and Ferraris with this money, but they will be only used for Rauta trips. So the more we have the budget, the more we get to travel, the more we get to do interviews. That's simply how it works. Anyway, let's get back to answering your questions. So, like I was saying to Brandmon's question about it, like what I'm anticipating at the moment, really nothing, except for the Inquisition album. Um, there might be some names like this and that band are supposed to release something this year, but like out of the bat, I really can't think of any like, hey, this and that band are doing a new album. Guess I would be more anticipated about like a new Slayer show's comeback, after 2019 when they call it like, let's call it quits. This is it. But that doesn't really mean new albums. I guess in a way I could say I'm waiting for Kerry King's solo material, which should be out already. Oh yeah, and the new D-side album. So at least there are two albums I'm waiting for this year. But when it comes to the underground names and all that stuff, I really don't know which bands are likely to put out music, so can't really comment on that. Oh, Matt, if I can call you that, thank you for your donation on PayPal here. This means I'm very, very, very thankful you all guys. Like I said, this money will be used for Rauta trip. So thank you so much. Every dollar, every fucking cent counts, because you know how it goes. With 1 cent, you really don't buy a thing, but maybe when you have 100 cents, you get to do that. And like I said, our trip to Inferno is already covered. We were able to save that much from last year's YouTube money, the payouts and Patreon money that we got to do. I mean, I got to reserve a hotel for our team, 3 people, and the plane tickets. So that's already taken care of. And now that we're March, it looks like we have enough money for the hotel for Beyond the Gates, but we need a little bit saving to get the plane tickets done. Now, I am still very, very positive that this should happen, but never say never until the tickets are actually bought. And I'm at the moment waiting for Beyond the Gates Festival in Bergen, Norway, August, to reply when the accreditation is like ready to be done, because we really need the press tickets in order to get our shit done. That only not only saves us money, but it also makes us possible to do the real press coverage. And I hope to coverage Bergen and Beyond the Gates for you people, because you really need to see how Grieghallen, the classic place for a lot of black metal albums, is like. You get to see how Bergen with the mountains are. You have to see the vibe. And like I said, I need to do this from Inferno Festival. I want to do this at Steelfest. I want to do it at Beyond the Gates, so you people get to see the feeling. What's it like at these festivals? How are the people? How are the venues? I am saying in plural because, like in Inferno, their main club and secondary club, and then there are these warm up clubs. When it comes to Bergen, there are at least three or maybe four or five different places. So in order to not just see my whole talking head to describing the place, I really need to show you something. And like I said, of course, all this helps. So as much it would be possible for us to just travel without worries. We don't have a sponsor. We don't have anybody to pay our bills. So traveling takes money, unfortunately. But yeah, let's not talk too much about money. That's probably quite irritating to people like you out there. I mean, we are here to enjoy music. We're here to enjoy metal, and we're here to discuss metal. We're not talking about how money runs the world. By the way, gotta say, I already mentioned this earlier when I started the stream. Blood Falls. This is by no means, by the way, sponsored. Just something that I bought from Nordic Metal Cruise. Blood Falls beer, really good double IPA. If you like really strong hoppy beers. And by the way, people who are going to these festivals, I keep mentioning Inferno, Steelfest, and hopefully Beyond the Gates. If you're going and you know that you're gonna be there and you are gonna see me right there, just come pull me by the sleeve, like, hey, Jerry, just like hello and all that stuff. I'm always up for talking. I'm always up for meeting people who follow the channel, who have some interest in the channel, who want to have a talk. Unless I'm busy running after, you know, some work. I mean, I always have time for a little bit of talking. So don't be shy. Just come and greet me. And yeah, let's make Rauta like a community. I mean, it sounds kind of a perverted. I mean, we're supposed to be these grim and misanthropic people who don't really talk one another. But let's be honest about it, brothers and sisters. We're really in for this thing for one reason alone, and that's good music. And with good music, always comes a little bit good people. So even though we might be misanthropic about everybody else in the world and say like "fuck off and die," we can still be like-minded and celebrate good music and enjoy good music together. So don't be shy. If you see me, come say hello and let's cheers to beers. All right. Once again, rambling, probably missing some of your questions. I will get back to you. And like I said, just tag my name Rauta and I will see it. Rob Hellfire, I gotta agree with you about you with Nile. Nile was supposed to be more theatrical, but last year at the Inferno, it was more like let's focus on how our guitars are, played, focusing on the details, like it's not really the kind of a show I'm looking for. But I mean, yeah, complicated music and technical of nature and all that stuff. Um, let's go with more comments. Thank you, World, about Nightside comments. It's really, really great that my band Nightside is doing well now. We have a few shows under our belt with after the comeback. A new album is already, by the way, recorded and mixed. Now it's about to get mastered. We have, in my opinion, pretty cool cover image for the album, and our label is, supporting us. They got our back. So I'm feeling very confident about the new Nightside album that is supposed to come out this spring still. Hopefully by Steelfest, but you never know how it is until you actually have the CD. So it will be CD first, LP later, and tape along the way. So yeah, I'm very confident with our new album, and I think it will be a kick-ass 1990s style of Nordic black metal. Archduke, thank you for your comments regarding Nightside. You mean the clean vocals on the Lions demo? Actually, I'm not doing the clean vocals. I'm not too big of a fan of clean vocals in black metal, but those clean vocals, I mean, when they're done in small amounts as a seasoning, like they were done by our keyboard player, I like it. I just don't want too much of that. So don't worry, there are not too many clean vocal parts on the new Nightside album either. But I mean, yeah, I prefer it only as a seasoning. There is a reason why I'm not too big fan of certain black metal bands going overboard with clean vocals, female or male ones, spoke too many spoken parts. That really needs to be used in moderation. That is the key, in my opinion, when it comes to black metal. I mean, it's extreme metal for a reason, not something that gets a lot of clean vocals. Think about Ulver. I mean, I like the nature feeling with Ulver albums like Bergtat, but that's just too much. Or Emperor Anthems already putting me a little bit off because of the clean vocals. So there's that. Nevermore Rules is what is the LP that on my turntable today. That's actually some of my own collection I'm going through. There will be a video series about it. You mean probably that CD right there. Um, I'm doing a video series about my own collection. That's something that people have been asking for years. And now I finally got the spark to do it when I'm pretty much done with the Norwegian Black Metal series. There will be a couple of more episodes coming way. Tomorrow, there will be episode 19. But it won't be much past episode 20, 22, 23, something like that, I guess. And then the Norwegian 1990s black metal is pretty much done. And then I will be starting to do with my own collection, letter by letter. And that is starting with A, bringing my pile of A albums here and going them through. This is actually what you see on the background where my finger is. These are roughly the albums from A, roughly here. Not too many. I've been getting rid of some of the albums which I don't really need them at this point. Then I don't know if I can show you. There you will see up maybe this way. There by the guitar, if they follow my finger once again, here roughly, you will see this hole. That is because I'm fingering it. Uh, the hole there is like that's where I'm taking the albums, putting them right there, one at a time after the daily review albums. And the good ones go to the shelf right here. And then the next one is taken out here. So you see already this hole became there as I got rid of some of the albums coming from the A letter. So among these albums right here, roughly, means that I've gotten rid of quite a few albums to make that much of a hole, because there's not much too much space after each of these holes. Like this A album, there's probably room for one album more. Here, same thing, and again here, and so forth. So means that I've already got rid of maybe 10 more albums from the letter A and B. And once I'm done, with the A, which is already something that I've done, I will take the pile A here and show it to you, talk through them, why I chose to have those albums in my collection, why I do keep them, why I treasure them, why I value them. And there will be some surprises. I'm sure that some people like, really? Why do you have that and that band? Why do you have that and that album in your shelf, but you don't have, for example, this and that? So I hope that we'll be creating interesting conversation between you and me about the albums I have, with starting with A. And then I will proceed with B, C, what have you. Currently, I'm somewhere like BL. Like I just went through Black Death Ritual yesterday. So by the time I'm probably done with the Norwegian project, I might be in the letter C. And then I will be proceeding alphabetically to the letter by letter. But since I only have very, very limited time to go through my own record collection, this project will probably take a couple of years because, if I listen one album, per day, and I don't really count weekends here, don't have really that much time to listen to music during weekends, it could take at least a couple of years. But we shall see how it goes. And of course, then there's this LP. If you meant turntable, there's a Second the Sun album from Russia, which I recently, I mean, this week just reviewed. Will be out in a couple of weeks. Long answer once again. I hope you can manage it. All right, getting onward with the comments. I am gonna skip some of the comments because they're not. I don't really need to reread out loud all the comments. I'm just gonna try to follow your questions here. Voltman is asking what I think about Kerry King's bandmates regarding the solo project. I really can't comment. I haven't read anything about it, but I'm pretty sure that Kerry King is likely to pick up something he already knows, something he can trust. I think someone mentioned Ball stuff is supposed to play the drums on the Kerry King album, but about the rest, I don't know. Carl Chacal, I still haven't heard the new Judas Priest album, so can't really comment it, but I hope to review it because I liked Firepower. Waltman, I actually reviewed the latest Saxon albums a couple of weeks, no, a few weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago. I think it's pretty decent, but full review is already out there. Um, Hello, Red Rocks. I will get back to your answer, by the way, later on, and about the Nightside merchandise you asked, but everything is going here fine, just that bit busy. Oh, Kyle Chacal, my role in Nightside is lyrics and vocals, and of course, I do the interviews mostly and shit like that. But yeah, vocalist. Nightside is one of the earliest bands I joined in 1996. Not my first or second band, mind you, but still. Archduke, you meant the clean vocals on Nightside. Eclipse? Oh, okay. Forget about it, whatever I said about clean vocals. Gerald, I don't even remember how the Vatine clean vocals are, which I guess should tell you enough how important I feel about it. John Short, 10,000 record collections. Wow, that is a really, really great number. Yeah, it would be really, really a nightmare. But then it's also fascinating um, to do collection videos. I mean, it takes time, but that's part of the charm. When you really go through all your albums and all, like I'm doing, listening them one by one, it's actually pretty fascinating to revisit some of the albums I haven't listened for years. Like there's some albums I probably haven't been listening to 10 years now because I'm always going for the new review albums. And by the past 20 years, I've done about 7,000 reviews, which mean I'm constantly listening to new music. And then I don't have the time to go back to my um, old record collection. But yeah, it's part of the fun here, really. Cecilia Taylor, I remember Flesh God Apocalypse, but I haven't heard the new single. But if you say the female vocals are kind of a terrible, I mean, I would guess that. Uh, Carl Chegal is asking what is my favorite metal band. I always say Slayer, but then again, I really like Wasp and Death equally. So there's that. I mean, all of these three bands, Slayer, Death, and Wasp, they all have albums which are 10 out of 10. Then again, so does Dark Throne. But Dark Throne also, while it's my favorite black metal band of all time, also has quite crappy albums, like two latest ones. So I wouldn't call Dark Throne my all-time favorite, even though I just absolutely adore whatever they did with the 1990s. Yeah, Burzum and Immortal are really good bands too. Some of the best ones coming from Norway. Oh, Brian Mons, thank you so much. Have a good nap. That SK, I gotta say, I am a little bit surprised that you like Förgjord so much. So that's cool. Anu Saukko, gotta say, I love your nickname. That's pretty wild. Not gonna translate it into English, but those who know Finnish understand why it is like that. But yeah, Wasp is some of my old school favorites. I mean, something that I loved as a kid, and I still do. I've been listening to Wasp like 40 years now, so well, almost. So take it as you will. And I've seen them live a few times. I think three times. Three times I'm sure of. And I was thinking like, was there also a fourth time when I got to see Wasp? But yeah, Wasp is great. I fucking love it. And Blackie Lawless is awesome heavy metal vocalist doing awesome lyrics too. John Jared, I think it's a good question to ask. Like, how can one say what is favorite band? Because I really agree. It tends to shift over time, like which albums you like, which bands you like. That's why I created this funny game a couple of years ago for Rauta. If you really want to find what is your favorite band by numbers, do it like that. Give 5 points. 5 points for every album you really consider to be 10 out of 10. Give 3 points for every album you really count as 9 out of 10. Give 1 point to each album you count as 8 out of 10. Now, if you're asking, what about those which are like 8.5 or so? I mean, if they are not niners, they're going to be eights. So 1 point for eights, 3 points for niners, and 5 points for 10. The rest, they don't matter. They are not so good that it does matter. I'll give an example. Not this is not really easy because if I really had to uh like count how I feel about certain like Dark Throne albums or Death albums, it would become complicated. But let's use Dissection as an example. Dissection's Storm of the Lightsbane is 10 out of 10 for me. That is 5 points. I would say the debut album, Somber Lane, is probably 8 or 8.5, less than 9, so it would make 3 points. And the rest, well, they don't matter. They are less than 8. So for me, Dissection would be a 6 point span, 5 plus 1. Now, if I get to count Dark Throne, I would say there are at least two 10 out of 10 albums. Under the Funeral Moon and Transylvanian Hunger, that alone means 10 points. Then I would say at least 3 points for Panzerfaust, which is pretty close to 10, but not quite. So it's a 3 points an album. A Blaze in the Northern Sky would be solid 1 point album for me being an 8.5. And then there are a couple of albums which I would say are niners from Dark Throne. So quick math 5 plus 5 plus at least 3 9 points album. That would be blah, blah, blah. Then we're already around 19. Then a few albums which are worth at least 1 point for Dark Throne. That is 8 out of 10 or better, but not exactly 9. So Dark Throne alone would be roughly about 20 points spanned to me, which means really fucking good. There are only a couple of bands that are roughly around as good to me. So based on numbers, I could say, yeah, it's Dark Throne. Because as much as I love Slayer, Slayer has only one 10 out of 10 album, and that's probably the best metal album in the world. Well, Raining Blood. But I mean, when you have a band with two 10 out of 10 albums, in my case, Dark Throne, I mean, it's really, really hard to challenge it like that. So, in case you're figuring out which are your favorite bands, be critical about it. Think which albums they have, which are really, really great, and start doing the math. This is something that I call a Rauta rating. So, if you want to consider your favorite band based on numbers, review scores, then it will most likely surprise you. Like Death, one of my favorite bands of all time, only one 10 out of 10 album. That is symbolic, by the way. So it would get 5 out of that. But the rest would be more like around 3 points albums, like quite a few of them exactly, like Leprosy or Scream Bloody Gore. And then there are a few 1 point albums, albums around 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. So that would be so much behind Dark Throne, even though Dark Throne has like 20 albums out, and half of them is something that I don't want to even own. They're quite crap, mediocrity, lukewarm, whatever you want to call it. But based on numbers, because of two 10 out of 10 albums by points, by Rauta rating, I mean, based on that, Doctron would probably win it for me. So it depends how you want to play it out with mathematics and statistics or by gut feeling. Mind you, neither is absolutely wrong. So you can just take a look at your record shelf. If you have a band that you're like, hey, this band is so good that I have like 15 albums by them, then it really could be your favorite band. And when there is band with you have only like two albums, can't really be the favorite one, right? Even if they're like golden classics. Like, I love most Enslaved albums. Enslaved has something like 16 full albums, and I have probably around 11 of them or so, close to that, 10 maybe, in my shelf. I could really say there are only a handful of bands that have 10 good albums. Is Enslaved one of my favorite bands? Yeah. But is it my all time favorite bands? No way. So there's that. Like saying, it depends how you want to count it. All right, getting back to your other questions. Anu is asking a question about Azazel Drunken Madness. Yeah, I agree, Anu. You can drink and play, obviously. Azazel just borders the line where it gets kind of a goofy, you know, you're kind of a too drunk to play, and then it becomes a meme material. But I don't disrespect. I don't drink that much. I rarely drink myself to a drunken state. I mean, I do have few beers every now and then. At Turku Saatanale, I probably had like 10 beers an evening because why the fuck not? That doesn't really mean I was drunk because it would be drinking the beers from the daytime to the late hours. So it's not really like being drunk. Azazel, then again, whole different animal. But I mean, I'm not disrespecting that. To each their own and all. And SK, I totally agree with your points about Burzum. Like, I don't really often listen to Slayer, even though I consider it probably my favorite band of all times. So there's that. And like Carl Chackle said, also like Anu, Wasp is fucking great, and your Nord Evil is great too. Yeah, I gotta say. Carl Checkle, you're 52. Wow. It's rare to have someone on the stream who is older than me, but I totally respect that. Um, Andre is asking me what I think about Druid and Forest's work, the new one. Now, in my opinion, it's way too keyboard music for me, but no disrespect, it's just not really my cup of tea. Hello, Leif. How are you doing, man? Life is going good. I'm having good company here, you people asking interesting questions. I have beer, so can't really complain. I already hit the gym today with some deadlifts. Going to do a little bit of climbing tomorrow with my kid. So I guess life is good. Nightside new album done. And already on Monday, we're going to do some new tracks. We're going to start rehearsing new material. So I'm enjoying. Life is good, motherfuckers. Life is as good as you want to make it, like the saying goes. Thank you so much, Archduke, for your donations. That is once again supporting the whole thing here, supporting Rauta, supporting our trip. So thank you so much, Archduke. Much like SK and Brian Mons as well. That is so much appreciated. My thoughts on Advent Sorrow is that I haven't really done the whole discography, but I think they're pretty good of a band. Not anything like my favorite, but I think they have something solid going on. And as such, I'm definitely interested by default what they have to offer now and in the future. And yet, the Mothibi, I agree, 2000s Doctor is underrated. To call this alive, like for example, our Sardonic Wrath are, in my opinion, among the best Doctron releases ever. So there's that. SK, and I totally understand why you like Fergie. It's just good. And Carla, check out Inside the Electric Circus. A really, really fucking good album. It's Cecilia Taylor. Yeah, I totally agree. Hair metal. That's some really good stuff. I mean, I'm the kind of generation who grew up with bands like Mötley Crüe, Wasp, what have you. And well, fuck. I mean, like, I even have a soft spot for a band like Europe or like Bon Jovi and stuff. I mean, so hard rock definitely plays a role in my history. And if you ever talk to a lot of old school people, doesn't matter if they're heavy metal people or black metal people or death metal people, many of them do grew up with a lot of softer side of metal and hard rock. I think Aculus guy last year when I did interview that, he also mentioned some of the names. And nowadays, young people might be like, "Hey, you play black metal, you probably got spoon fed Satan and black metal and all that shit." And then they forget that we're guys in our 40s. Like, we grew up with the stuff from the 80s and in some cases 70s. So it wasn't all evil or super extreme metal back in the days. We just kind of grew up step by step. We start, bands like Kiss and Wasp and Mötley Crüe and stuff like that. Then we go sneaking about to heavy metal, to trash metal, death metal, what have you, to black metal and all that stuff. And that also goes back. So it doesn't mean like we started with bands like, say, Kiss or whatever, and then we abandon it. Now, I'm not personally a big Kiss fan. I mean, they have some good tunes, some good songs here and there, but a few years ago, this is probably almost like 10 years ago, I started doing Kiss discography run. That was before I even had Rauta. So I was like way too easily to just not finish the project, so to say. Nowadays, I would just force myself through it and then do it a Rauta video. Anyway, I was listening to some early Kiss stuff. I started with the first album when I was going on with the list, and after a few albums in, I mean, Kiss really did a lot of albums back in the days in the 70s, 80s. There was like an album out every 6 months or so. So they were pushing a lot of music out there. And it felt like, for me anyway, like they had like one good song per album. So maybe they had 8 or 10 tracks or 12 tracks an album. And then we'd have like one good track, maybe a couple of decent tracks, and the rest were just pure filler. So at some point, I was like, I don't know, I went up to say, lick it up or so. And then I was like, screw it. I don't want to waste my time doing that stuff. And by the way, I was way less loaded with all the review albums back in the days. I mean, my peak moments were something like 30 albums, 40 albums at max. Nowadays, my typical queue in my review albums is something like 130, 150 albums. So I wasn't even that busy with review albums back in the days because it was before Rauta, but still doing reviews already for other media. And I still was like, fuck shit, that shit. I'm not going to go through all these silly albums that are no good. But that being said, still being grown in the 80s, I mean, I got to listen, I got to hear those albums that made their way to a lot of people influencing them. Now, when I was reading this black metal book I reviewed recently, Black Metal Evolution of the Cult, a lot of people from Norwegian black metal scene, be it Immortal or be it some other bands, a lot of those guys grew up on Kiss. And there was this reason, I don't remember we had that in Finland, but in Norway, they had these kind of like collector's cards, like ice hockey cards or soccer cards or baseball cards. You would rip them apart and you will find those collector cards. They had something like that going on with Kiss. I don't know how exactly they were like, but I mean, having the dangers and cool and sexy images of Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley and whatever those essential Kiss members probably sparked their mind like, wow, these are not just musicians, they are like superheroes. They could be like your next Marvel or DC comic superheroes, like Spider-Man, Thor, Iron Man, Hulk, Superman, whoever, Batman. So if you collect these cards and you're a kid, something magical probably happens. And then you want to find about the bands, like not only just the music, but also dive into the interviews and maybe putting your posters on the wall. And that really gets the engine rolling. Obviously, now we don't have this kind of a fan culture. Everything is within one or two clicks away on the internet. You want to find about something about some interesting rock and roll star, you just click away. Oh, he talks shit on the YouTube. I'm not gonna follow their music anymore. Or you can read this and that, or you can see the social media. Okay, Gene Simmons is now eating oatmeal. Boring. Next. Oh, Rob Halford is taking a piss. Boring. Oh, Ozzy Osbourne is shitting his diapers. Boring. Oh, Satyricon guy is, drinking water and red wine instead of beer. Boring. Click, 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 click. You get to move on like that. But back in the 80s and back in the 90s, when it all was so mystic, so it didn't really even matter if it was band like Kiss and trading cards for a little kid, or something that you would, take it as a poster from a magazine, of a music magazine that was mostly about pop music and rock music. And if there ever was something like a poster about a heavy metal or hard rock band, Twisted Sister, D. Snyder, fucking A, you would just put it on your wall and you would like stare at the motherfucker right there on your wall, and you would be dreaming like, man, I wish I could sing like that. I wish I could play guitar like that. I wish I could, conquer the world as this rock and roll star. So be it Blackie Lawless of Wasp, be it Gene Simmons of Kiss, be it D. Snyder of Twisted Sister, or any of the guys from Mötley Crüe or whatnot, you would be just, like, wow, these guys are fucking great. Obviously, as a kid, as in the 80s, obviously I had no ideas that I would eventually, you know, become a vocalist myself or becoming a band member. That was just something like a dream. You all know, you all had dreams. I mean, you're not probably some war bombarded kids because you are, after all, here on the stream, not picking body parts on the street. So you probably all remember how it was being a kid, less than say 10 years of age. You're eating candy, watching your favorite cartoons or whatever on the TV, and you were browsing your mom's and dad's or big sister, big brother's magazines and like, wow, these people are cool. We all know how it was to be a kid and have those dreams, staring at these glorious, successful people. Might be movie stars, might be athletes. Hey, this drives a car for a living. Dad, can I be like one of these? Or maybe we're taking some Ingrid J. Malmsteen, like, oh, this guy can play so fucking fast with the guitar. Like, it's mind blowing, really. Now, when you get older and you start grabbing all these CDs and tapes and vinyl, you get to see the show. In a way, that mysticism is gone. You don't really get to be that 10-year-old kid who was like, eating candy like a lollipop. I want to be a rock and roll star. Suddenly, you are among the people who are like minded, like left and right. You're like, hey, that guy over there that has a cool Burzum shirt. This guy has a nice Judas Priest hoodie. That guy over there wears a Marduk long sleeve. You're one of them, and you're no longer that kid anymore. And your favorite stars, they are right there playing this motherfucking show. So instead of being this 8-year-old kid eating a lollipop, taking a look at these fucking posters and becoming, I want to play rock and roll too. I want to be dangerous. I want to be like that. Rebel. You are actually rebelling. You're kind of living already the dream when you're, I don't know, full age, when you're 18, 20, 30, or like people like me, 40s, or even this guy here on the stream being more than 50, still being a fucking metalhead, still listening to these great bands and reading about it. Now, while the mysticism might be gone, but at least now you have the records. You can buy them, you can read the lyrics, you can go to see the shows, you can meet like-minded people. Fuck, some people have actually found girlfriends and boyfriends or whatever at the shows, at the festivals, among the like-minded people. So if that isn't kind of like the dream come true, even if you didn't become the rock star, um, starring a great band you once upon took a look at, it's still quite something. And I think that's part of the magic, really, what we have here, um, enjoying music. While the stars might be very different nowadays than back in the 80s or 70s or even 90s, for fuck's sake, it's still kind of, part of the process. So, what started as a little kid's dream, dreaming about these wonderful times and wonderful stage appearances, and the mystic was right there. And nowadays it might be our everyday life, wearing that worn out Morbid Angel shirt or having that Slayer shirt or that Dog Throne hoodie or whatever. But at least you really made it that far. So obviously, when you take a look to the back and you feel a little bit nostalgic, like what happened in your case 10 years ago, 40 years ago, it is quite magical. So in that sense, when you hear old, say, black metal people, for instance, talking about how they were inspired by Kiss back in the 80s, suddenly it doesn't feel that strange as it might have in the first place. Like, how are these immortal guys talking about Kiss? I mean, their music isn't like that at all. But when you remember your own childhood or teenage years and finding about those bands, suddenly it fucking makes sense. Things start to click, and you're like, yeah, actually, I get it. Then you really do, because everybody has a reason to pick up an instrument. Somebody out there inspired some other person to pick up the guitar or keyboard, drums, bass, what have you, or just a turntable and the albums. Not everybody became a musician because some other people did. And that's why also, for example, me, why I do Rauta, why I do have bands, why I write about albums. Because music is so fucking great. The only thing, in my opinion, that tops music in some ways is sex. But sex is quite different. And I really can imagine I have to choose between sex and music. So it's more like, it's like choosing between what do you want to eat and what do you want to drink. It's like, can I have both? Luckily, I fucking can. I think most people can. Anyway, that's a long rambling answer to a simplistic question. All right. I get it. I kind of got it lost in a way and all that stuff. Now let's have beer and let's talk about music. All right, let's read your comments now that I've been going on for a long time. Hello, Tia. Nice to see you again. It was a nice weekend. Last weekend at Turku Saatanalle was nice to talk to you as ever. And I hope your birds are doing fine. All right. Reading. Carl Checkal also loves Timo Borgir. Nothing wrong with that. Timo Borgir is actually one of those bands I tried to get for interview at Inferno by the end of month. But I mean, they kind of turned me down at Beyond the Gates last summer, so I don't know if it will happen. Um, what else? SK, that is a pretty cool story about you going to concert with your cousins and being a teenager. I mean, those are the kind of valuable things I was just rambling about. So yeah. Gingerbread Rocks is asking or asked me an interesting question if I have any drunken pleasures that is not metal. Of course I do. Um, One of the kind of a typical things, for example, when I go to Steel Fest, is that I play dark ambient by the time we're back at our Airbnb cabin. Everybody's kind of like getting ready to get back to bed, and having maybe the last beer of the evening, having a little bit talks, getting ready to sleep, and I always get this end of the evening kind of a DJ moment, and I play something else, and it's not metal at all. Sometimes I might get nostalgic, not related to Steelfest or anything like that, and just listen to some individual tracks like from the 80s on YouTube or Spotify, doesn't matter. So yeah, there are always some of those moods. You just want to listen to something from your childhood or teenage years. Yeah, the Motibi can say I'm really a doomer. I'm very, very picky when it comes to doom metal. So I'm not really a pagan older guy, but I mean, I totally get it. Timmy Turner is asking what I think about Winter Sun. Now, believe it or not, I have never ever heard a Winter Sun album. I have always kind of managed to skip the whole band. Not totally intentional, but yeah, somehow it has escaped me. Don't ask me why, but probably I have always felt like unconsciously, subconsciously, not unconsciously. Subconsciously, I've probably felt it's not my kind of a thing. But I now that they have a new album coming out, I feel like I probably should visit the whole discography and just give it a go. Never more rules asked me how I feel about Abzu. I actually did Abzu worst to best a few years ago on Rauta, and that's actually when Equitant, if I remember correctly, came to thank me for that video, him being part of Absu and all. I think Absu is definitely one of the best USBM bands ever. I don't like the first album, Vitriol, um, but I mean, Tara is like 5 out of 5 album for me. And some of the rest albums, I mean, they're good or great. So Absu is great. I've seen them a couple of times, I think, live, and they were really, really good. Yeah, Ginger Red Rock's early Europe is awesome, definitely. Hello, Barbarian Blood. Between New York and Philly, you get to have both best of both worlds. Philly steaks and New York City feel. Wow. Waldman, I always watch Super Bowl, whether Patriots are there or not. And I think it was kind of a great game, but I was so fucking tired after Nordic Metal Cruise going straight from there through a bar to my bass player's house to watch the game with my friends, and I almost fell asleep properly during the game, but I tried to watch it. I mean, and most parts I did, but I was like, you know going back and forth, partially napping the game and all. Hello, Burden, welcome to the stream. And you're new here, welcome. Doesn't matter, new or old, always welcome. You're gonna see Havokruno live. That's good for you. You might remember that I did Havokruno interview a few years ago. Barbarian Blood has 6 kids. Wow, that's wonderful. You must really have a great family life, and you must really love kids. That's great. In case you're wondering, I'm still reading the comments here, trying to figure out what have you asked, possibly. Archduke is 26 and feeling old. Don't feel old. You are not old before you're 40 plus. And even still, I mean, I'm closer to 50 now than 40. And I still can rock off your shoes. That is, when I go to festivals, I can still go, for evenings and stay up late and all that stuff. Dia, be my witness here in case she's still around the stream. I mean, it's more of a mindset. If you really have the will to enjoy the festivals and stay up late nights and all that stuff, you can fucking do it. So 26 or whatever, I mean, that's kind of at the age where you actually finally start to understand how it is to run a band, how it's to, go to different places. When you're around your 20s, you probably don't even have money to do all the things, all the fests and shit like that. I'm saying in general, speaking in general here, around 30, everything becomes better. By that time, you're probably rid of your student loan and whatever. You probably have a decent job. You have settled, you know, settled down with girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever, and you've done the worst mistakes already. And by 30, you're not still too old to do a lot of good things. So if you ask me, the peak moment roughly is between 30 and 40. Don't get me wrong, I'm over 40 and I'm still having these peak moments in my life. But I also understand that, I'm not as energetic as I could be. Then again, I do really don't need, certain um, drugs or whatever in order to, enjoy the festivals and stay up late and all that stuff. I just feel a little bit more taxing, meaning I really need more sleep and all that shit. But I mean, I still go to a lot of festivals and I still get to see a lot of shows and all that stuff. So all I'm saying is a lot to do with energy lies in your head, in your brain, in your attitude. And there are lots of people who are like, oh, I'm 30, I'm too old for that shit. I'm like, fuck that shit. I'm closer to 50 than 30. And I still have a lot of energy. So essentially, what I'm saying is a lot to do has to do with your attitude. Sometimes people in their 25s sound like they're 50. What is the fuck is that? Like, if you want to sound like a grumpy retirement age people in your 30s, go ahead and fucking do it. But don't start complaining me. It's all about the age and the phase you're living. Like I have a relatively young kid, less than 10 years of age. So of course I have to, bounce between family shit and, my day job, doing Rauta, doing Nightside, doing my powerlifting regime, and I can fucking pull it off. Why? Because I want to. I have the passion, I have the will, and to certain degree, certain extent, I also have the money. I didn't most certainly have the money when I was in around 25. Why? Because I had still student loan to pay. I had still a lot of things I haven't figured out. Have I figured out the things by now? No. But I know a lot more than, say, when I was my 30s or 20s. So I'm saying things get easier by age. So if you're in your 20s and you're doing some goofy mistakes or you're figuring out you already know it all, don't worry about it. You won't. You probably won't ever figure out everything. And that's fine. That's part of the charm here. You know, living life and all. And a lot to do really has to do with your own attitude. You can fucking rock and you can enjoy a lot of things, be it gigs, festivals, random one night stands, good bands, whatever. A lot to do when you have the will. All right, getting more than with the comments and shit like that. Carl Checkle, yeah, I guess Kiss was an even bigger thing for you when you were a kid in the 70s. I really respect you being back still in the business or 50 and all. Um Ginger Drax asked if I was part of tape trading. I gotta say this is some question I've been kind of expecting at some point. I kind of missed tape trading by an inch. The thing here is, it was happening when I was a teenager, obviously, but I never kind of liked tapes too much. So while we copied tapes, I really didn't, belong in the tape trading scene. Instead, since the late 90s, we started trading. CDRs full of MP3s. So basically, when I was in my early 20s, we started trading MP3s before internet was fast enough to move all the files. So we were like CDR trading really over tapes. So I kind of missed the tape trading. I never had the money nor contacts to send tapes overseas to different places. So I kind of feel envious to a lot of people in bands when they were trading. Think of Norwegian people about my age, and they would be sending tapes to Colombia or Brazil or United States and shit like that. I was totally clueless about it until I heard about it later on from my friends and read about it in magazines. And by the time I was like ready to do it, you know, MP3s were already a thing. It took a few years though. And of course, I had copied tapes, but it was never about proper trading. It was more like just copying tapes among your friends rather than sending them overseas to someone you might have found over zines and all that stuff. I mean, it sounds kind of a goofy when I think about it, and because I could have been in the age like back in 1993, I could have really done it, but nope, I didn't have the contacts, so there was that. But yeah, that's how it goes. Archduke, yes, I know Justin Horwell. I actually contacted him maybe not a year ago, but a few months ago when SK kind of pushed me towards Justin to talk about, this label, Headbangers, that we should do some kind of collaboration. I emailed him, he emailed me back, then I emailed him again, and he never replied me. So unfortunately, we didn't ever get to do. But I mean, of course, I know him by fame. I know that there are more brothers than just Justin involved. But yeah, somehow we never got to do. Maybe he forgot to answer me, or maybe he just thought I'm a prick and doesn't want to do anything with me. So yeah, I know J Dog by name and fame, but we never got to do anything, together. And I'm happy that you guys like SK and Barbarian Blood and all that stuff. I'm happy that you kind of got connected here through US metal scene, so it's great. Voltman, somehow most misfits always escaped me. Then again, I was never that much into punk or hardcore punk or any of that stuff or any of those what do you call it, horror punk, whatever. So can't really say I never listened to them. Yeah, I know Turtles, He-Man, Old Batman, yeah, G.I. Joe, Mask, Transformers, 80s, golden times. Oh yeah, Ginger, that is really good that your dad helped you recording those albums like Wasp, Twisted Sister, and Kiss. Fucking great. I mean, that's the kind of a love you really need from your parents. Support whatever you're doing. Burden will be 46. Welcome to the club, then. That's great stuff. Oh man, I'm so much lagging behind your talks. Pardon me, but it's good that you have all this talk. I think I need a whiskey soon. All right, I'm just trying to browse your comments and all that stuff. Barbarian Blood is 44. Nice. Yeah, like Eska said, feeling happy that older people are listening to metal. So it's not just some people in their 20s and 30s, and then they decide, I'm too old for this shit. I'm gonna cut my hair. I'm gonna sell my all my, you know, band merchandise, and I'm gonna just secretly listen to that all. Like, Why the fuck would you do that? It's a lifelong journey for me anyway. I mean, if I was one of those guys, you wouldn't see a Rauta stuff. I would have, if I would be like the one of the guys, like by the 30, I'm gone, listening to some Taylor Swift and all. So yeah, growing up and abandoning metal, fuck it. SK, music, if you say music is better than sex, you really haven't had good sex. That's the lesson I'm talking to you about. Yeah, well, man, I don't mean about when I'm getting back to your older comments about being who cares about being a rock star. I mean, whenever you enter a stage, doesn't matter how small an underground band you are, you still kind of feel a rock star, even if you don't have the money. So being a rock star was the thing here. Jerry asked me a question. What is the best band I ever toured with Nightside? Now, the thing here is we never really toured. We just did a concert here or there. But now it's funny, we played like 4 times in a row with Gorgontorus. So, if that counts. But no, we never toured. Yeah, Ske, maybe the lack of love means why you're not enjoying sex that much. But yeah, it's another topic. Yeah, Kai Hahto is a fucking good drummer. Gotta say that. Gerald, I actually had a phone call with um, Mika Luttinen of Imbel Nazarene just this week. We actually agreed upon an interview. So I met Mika a few times over the years. First time in the 90s and then a couple of times in 2000s. Then I did a Finnish interview with Mika 2016, a year before Rauta was founded at Steelfest. And yeah, I met Mika Luttinen from Imbel Nazarene like 3 weeks ago at Nordic Metal Cruise. You might have actually seen it if you seen my video about it. Gyro lamp, yes, I kind of like the new emulation. Not too much, but I mean, pretty cool after all. Oh yeah, Gyro lamp meant the new Inquisition. I still haven't heard the new Inquisition, but it's supposed to arrive here for review. Hello, Brian Mons. Welcome back to the stream. Nice that you had your nap and you're back. Brian Mons feels old at 26. Senile at 35. Fuck off, Brian. You're younger than that. Bird, nice that you enjoyed the Havokruunu interview. Avsky is pretty cool of a band too. Waldman is asking what is my favorite show so far. You mean with Nightside or what kind of show? And Tia removed the messages before I could read it. I don't know what she's implying. Yeah, Bexon is a good live band. I totally agree. Never more rules. Better in late 30s than early 20s. It's really like that. Age is a number to a certain extent, but then again, we all know that it's more than that. Oh yeah, Tia, we really had a good time at Inferno last year, and also in Bergen. I just wish you were there this year as well at Inferno. Too bad you're not there. You're always a good companion around fests. Turku Saatanalle this year also included. So too bad you're not there with in Oslo. Also, Silver Snake is asking an interesting question. Everybody else knows the answer to this one. Do I believe in God? Do I fucking look like a guy who believes in God? Do I have a need for God? And now some lightning bolt is going to strike in my head. No, I don't believe in God. Unless you call Arnold Schwarzenegger a god, then I would believe in God. But yeah, me and Dia, we had some good times at the Inferno and Beyond the Gates and all that stuff. Dia is so much younger than me. She has more energy probably than me, but I'm trying to make it up with my experience and all. Lucas Cruz is asking if I know Void Womb. No, I don't. And that name sounds goofy. Oh, never more rules. I mean, you can hurt your knee despite of age. So doesn't have to be like because of age. When you're 20 or 40, when you hurt a knee or whatever part, it's not about age. Ginger Rock's really nice that with the getting your hair back again and all. I didn't know actually that you're older than me. I was guessing you're something like 40, whatever, but you're older than me. Cool. Anastasia, it's really cool that you're still wearing merch every day. That's how it should be. That's what I do anyway, too. I mean, now, I mean, because I work in the gaming industry, I tend to have shirts like this. I'm not gonna hide it. I mean, I love video games. So, but even though I have a lot of metal shirts and all that stuff, I also have a lot of video game merchandise, like here, Assassin's Creed Unity. Why? Because I work in the gaming industry. And since we're having now such a nice conversation, and I'm out of beer, this run dry after 90 minutes. Enter whiskey time. Here we have some Lafroig quarter cask Islay single malt Scotch whiskey. How about some quality? Anyone want some? Well, come here, get yourself a glass, and I will pour you as well. I actually bought an expensive whiskey bottle from the Nordic Metal Cruise, and I'm stoked to open it at some point. Lucas is going to play with Imbel Nazarene this June. That sounds great. Joaquin Duran, hola. How are you doing? Have I heard call? Have I listened to a band called Propast? I can't say I have. Burden. I mean, even though I found death metal and black metal like decades ago, I still feel like a trash metal guy. Carl Checkle, this yes, I do like Comfort. I feature them in my videos, which actually reminds me I should be writing my cameraman in Oslo that he should get. Let me write this message to my cameraman. We should really get Comfort interview done at Inferno. Done. I think he can because 2 years ago when Comfort played in Oslo at Inferno, I was asking for an interview and then they said no. Then after that, they told to my Norwegian cameraman Carl, yeah, they would like to do an interview with me at Midgårdsblot 2023 where they would be playing. Now the thing is, I wasn't going to no Midcourt Plot 2023. That was out of my budget and schedule because I was going to be on the Gates 2023. So they said yes, but a little bit too late. Luckily, they are playing at Inferno this year, so let's hope it will happen. So yeah, I do like Kamfar, and my cameraman Carl has actually done some video footage. Check out Necrolust Productions on YouTube if you want to see what kind of footage Carl did with Necrolust for Kamfar. The Carl is a really, really good, very down to earth cameraman doing great stuff with video and photography. He was my cameraman at Midgard's Plot 2022 and also Beyond the Gates 2023. So he has been doing his share for Rauta interviews as well. Hello, Nocturna. Welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? Barbarian Blood, you have two bands. Interesting. Cool. Gingerbread Rocks is asking what I think about the whole Finnish black metal scene, and let's say extreme thoughts are real and therefore a problem. Well, I would say Finnish black metal scene on average is quite good. I mean, we have plenty of really, really cool people, down to earth, but solid musicians. And I would say most people are not too toxic in one way or another. I mean, whether you bring into politics or whatever, I would say Finnish black metal people are not like they're not rock stars, they're not hard ass criminals or what have you, but they are really, really the kind of people you can get well along with. So they don't have really like silly dreams of being a rock star in the metal scene and all, but they work hard and they respect people who are real and not about bullshit. So I would say Finnish black metal scene is good. So therefore, no real problems as such. Oh, Nocturna, looking great with this what you call scruff and not shaved hair. Actually, Commander Agares guy, I met him last weekend at Turku Saatanalla, and he also asked me, have I lost weight? And I was like, not that I know of, but maybe a kilo or two. So I don't really know. I can't really say because I feel like I've been like this for years, but I don't know. Maybe I have because it seems like maybe I burned some fat because I feel like I have more veins. This light won't show it, but I think I have more veins popping up in my arms. So maybe my fat percentage is a little bit down. So maybe I'm not like so bubbly in my face. But I don't know. Thank you anyway for your comment. Oh, SK, you like Kvass that much? That's pretty interesting because I think their debut album by Kampfar is definitely their best. Waldman is asking, what is my favorite Nightside show with Nightside as a music fan? Um, as a fan, I gotta say, Slayer. Some of the Slayer shows probably are some of my best ones. There are others too than just Slayer. Um, when it comes to my own bands, Nightside shows, I don't know if I have a favorite thing going on because I mean we still haven't had too many shows, so there are no real like failure moments. There are no real peak moments because we didn't have robes at Turku Saatanalla last week, and in a way I felt that was like relieving. But then again, we only had like a 30 minutes of a set, so it felt way too short with 6 songs, and then we were gone. In one way, that was one of our best shows. I think we were like very confident on stage. There were no major flaws, and the sound was pretty good. But then again, I don't know. Also, it was really, really cool to play at Steel Chaos last year because that was like literally the biggest stage we've ever been. But no, I cannot really pinpoint one. I think that show where we're like, this is the shit, that's bound to happen later on. SK, think you think I do believe in gods, or what was the question? Uh, no, Arnold, Lemmy, things like that. They are probably the real gods. Silver Snake, also a good question when he's asking ideology about concept of dead. Well, I think being dead is very, very important part of our life cycle. I mean, if nobody died, they would be roaming the earth, and what would happen to all the new people? Would be overpopulated, overpopulating the whole planet. And also, we have to understand that when something dies, something else gets to live. That is the cycle of life. That means when a beast eats a prey, say there is a wolverine or a jackal or tiger, lion, whatever, when they go and kills a vegetarian animal, because that's how it usually is. That's when the life happens. Say lion takes a gazelle or I don't know, some deer and eats it. That means the lion has now food for his or hers pups. And these babies then again get a start in life because, well, this vegetarian animal died. The same thing. An eagle comes and like, okay, there is a rodent. Beep 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 beep. And the eagle grabs the rodent away, rat, mouse, whatever, and takes it to the eagle family, like feeding the tiny birds, like, hey, you have a snippet. Nom, 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 yummy, yummy, yummy. And then these small eagles like, Daddy, Mommy, you came home with your food. Nice rodent, by the way. They also become, you know, adult living birds. That's how it is. So death is a very important part of the life. I mean, we grieve when our closest ones die. Um, that is our personal grievance. When your parents die, siblings die, your own kids, God's forbid, die. I mean, of course, that's like the shittiest thing that could happen in your life. But what in essence happens is that beyond that, you don't really give a fuck. Let's be honest about it. You don't really give a fuck when somebody else dies on the other side of the globe. Some people are now dying because they don't have food, shelter, clean water. And you're like, hey, here I'm typing on YouTube stream and I'm listening to some Burzum, sipping some beer and whatever. You don't really give a damn. You don't give a damn like people die like this. Not to mention all the animals. What about the ants? What about the bald eagles? What about the jackals? What about the plants? Everything is constantly dying. That's the beauty of life. I mean, the beauty of life only is there because the fear of death. Not fear as such, but because things die. That means you're living on borrowed time in a way. Um, Without knowing your existential crisis, you're getting older, you're eventually going to die. Life would be next to meaningless. You would be like, what the fuck is point of this fucking life? Because I have endless amount of time. Like fuck, fuck, fuck. YOLO. You only live once. But I mean, it's a stupid saying. Actually holds some truth. When you know that only this moment is for real. The next moment I might have a heart attack. Uh, let's play a game, theorize a little bit. Let's say this stream goes fine, and I'm like, hey, that was a quite nice stream with nice people over there listening to metal, much like me. Then I just shut down my computer, walk to my front door, then I got a heart attack because I ate too much cheese and then die. Now, for me, it might be both a blessing and a curse. Curse in the sense like I didn't get to see my daughter become an adult person and all that shit. I would be dying before my parents and all that blah blah blah. You would be losing some Finnish bald head. Not that much of a loss, but still. Um, my bandmates would be like, "Fuck, we lost that dude. We gotta get a new one. We gotta need a replacement." But in the end, nothing else would really change. I mean, the world would keep, turning. A new dawn would come, new day would, night would follow, and shit like that. Nobody would give a shit if I died right there. And new people would be to replace me, part of the machine, and things would go like forever more and more. But if I didn't have the realization of that I would eventually die, I would probably waste my time in doing different kind of shit. Now I want to, I guess, in a way, share some of my legacy with you. And my legacy, I'm talking about listening to endless amount of music, recommending these records to you, doing these interviews. So when I'm gone, at least I hope to have made something useful, something recreational, something entertaining for you and generations to come. So while there are not too many like Satanic War Masters or Arts Code or Inquisition video interviews out there, I hope that my legacy, spending time with these people, doing with these interviews, I hope that was worth the time. So when I'm gone and already dead, buried 6 feet fucking under, somebody else is like, hey, at least that guy was some degree useful. Because he made to interview these guys and ask these silly questions and all that shit. My point here is, as nihilistic as I can be, and I trust me, I can be quite a nihilistic. Um, I think we are here to make our time valuable in life, not only for ourselves, but also those who are closest to us, be it as like friends, parents, kids, cousins, siblings, whatever. So, whatever you're doing, I'm not trying to go too dark, too bleak, too sinister here. I'm saying like we got only this one life. That's what I think. Who knows if there is an afterlife, but I don't believe in one, so doesn't matter. But this is the only shot we got. So this only shot should really, really matter. Like I said, not only to ourselves, but to all our, significant people. It might be your spouse, it might be your grandparent or whoever, it might be a teacher at school or your boss at work. Whoever is the important people in your life. Maybe it's just you alone. I don't know. I don't really care because it's your life, not mine. Um, but we have this one shot and we should make it worthwhile. So if that worthwhile means you're gonna see your favorite show, or you're gonna take this girl in your school for a date, or you're gonna make an album with your bandmates, or you're gonna spend, petting your cat or dog. I mean, fucking do it. Make your life worth living. So when you're about to die on your deathbed, and you're like, oh man, I have so many fucking regrets. Fuck. Like, try to get to a point when you have zero fucking regrets. Make sure you did as many good choices, as many good decisions as you could. I am certainly doing them. I mean, you could say some people would be now asking, so why the fuck do you run a stream? You could play a video game, you could watch a movie, you could bang a woman, you could, I don't know, go for a jog and whatever. And I'm like, but I like this. I like talking to you people right there. I have a little bit of whiskey, and this is the kind of a legacy I'm trying to build. I'm not gonna be rich. I'm not gonna be famous, and that's not even the things I'm, looking for. But I wanna do my part for music because music is the thing what I love. So when I get to share it with people who react to music much like me, who have the passion for music, and who are ready to listen what I say about music. That's what matters. So if I die after the stream, when I go back to the building, at least I feel like I did possibly something useful, something entertaining, something that will have a meaning. If I saved some sorry ass metalhead's life because I gave him or her a tip to listen to this particular album or made this interview that changed the course of that person's life, my work is done. I've done my part. And if somebody decided to kill himself or herself despite what I did, well, fuck that person, fuck me. I'm not here to save anybody. I'm not trying to do that. So, in the end, I'm saying whatever we do, we are gonna die anyway. So, dead and death are fucking important in order to keep life going. We need death as much as we need life, if that makes sense. And one of my favorite philosophers from 19th century, Arthur Schopenhauer from Germany, he basically made this point that was like an eye-opening to me. This is something that I already mentioned a few years ago. One of the streams I did is that before a person is born, nobody gets to miss this person because this person doesn't exist. It only becomes meaningful when this person is born. And when that person dies, it goes back to the very state where this person was before this person got born. So in the end, we are only sad for ourselves for losing a person, not because this person kind of got back to the very state where this person was before he was born, or she, whatever. But you get the point. So we are in the end very, very selfish. We only have this one life, and this is all we got. So we have to make it count, right? So death is very, very important. And that is why I understand these personal faiths and religions when people are like, yeah, God bless death, or death is our God. I mean, it's kind of a silly because death is no God, death is just a thing. But at least death gives our life perspective, meaning. And through death, we can really understand the value of life. It's much like money. When you don't have it, you really fucking understand why it's so fucking important to have it. And when you have it, you take it for granted so often. That is life and that is death. I hope this makes fucking sense to you. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope I made some sense. But if not, well, at least I tried. And then thank you so much, John Jared, for donating your, to the cause, to Rauta and all that stuff. Thank you so much. This means um, a lot to me personally and for the crew. Thank you so much. And thank you for people, trying to understand what Rauta is all about. I might be a dumb metalhead. I might not be the smartest person in the room, though now I'm alone. So technically speaking, I'm the smartest and the silliest person in the room right here. But this is how I feel about life. This is how I feel about death. And I don't ask you to agree with me. I don't even ask you to understand me. I guess I'm asking, bear with me. All right, that's my rambling once again. Oh, let's get back to answering your questions. Yes, Tia, this is nice whiskey. I would share you some whiskey, but you're not coming to Inferno, so fuck you. No, no, not fucking you. Yeah. S SHGT. Can I just call it shit 11? Is asking if I've heard band Ingested. I remember hearing the name, and I think I have heard the name before, but nothing recently. Never More Rules had bottle of 18-year-old bourbon last week. Nice. That sounds good. And John's already is having Anknock, 12 years old. Sounds good. Actually, last year, my graphics guy, Chris C., whose thumbnails you might have been enjoying, bought me some really good whiskey. I still have the empty bottle here for some reason. though I finished it a few months ago. He brought me this Frey Ranch Farmers Distillery straight bourbon whiskey to Steelfest, and this was really good. And by the way, really nice bottle. That's why I haven't tossed it away. Chris, being the actually there's a little bit. You can see it. Let's do it. Let's do it. That Finnish way. Mm-mm-mm. So Chris is a really, really nice person, and you might seen him through one of my Steelfest 2023 short videos. So he brought this great bourbon to Steelfest last year, and now he's coming back for Steelfest. Now I don't expect him, obviously, to bring more booze, but he was really, really nice to have there, and he will be with us during Steelfest at our Airbnb. Really, really great guy. Anyway, once again, thank you, John Red Rocks, for your donation and help for the cause known as Rauta, if there's a cause anyway. But yeah, thank you so much. And let's hope that this campfire interview will happen. Um, and Carl, my cameraman from Norway, actually said that he sent the campfire interview request. So thumbs up for that. Um, okay, reading your comments once again. I'm a little bit on the back scroll. So let's see how it goes. Yes, Cecilia Taylor Spellcode is a really, really nice guy from Finnish black metal scene. He's really, really a great, nice person. Nevermore Rules is asking how late is Suomi right now. We're past midnight now, 5 past midnight. I can barely see some lights in the horizon, but it's mostly very, very dark and black. Um, Oh, Gingerbread Rock, sorry of the comments because of the commercials. I didn't even realize they were running about. So anyway, Gingerbread, I just wanted to thank you for your donation with great amount of money. And thank you so much with the supporting Rauta and all that stuff. Really, really nice. And I'm really thankful for your donation. And I think the rest of the crew will be as well when you know about it. Burden asked me if I have ever interviewed Goat Moon. No, unfortunately, this was agreed about 5 years ago now that I should do Goat Moon interview. But a few years ago, Black Goat of Goat Moon also said that he doesn't want to do the interview anymore. So, like SK said a few days ago to some comment about it, every stream I get to answer the question if I will be doing Goat Moon interview. If it was up to me, yes, we would already done it 5 years ago, but it's not up to me, so unfortunately so. Mart Mele is asking if how does it feel to meet black metal legends? To be honest, I don't have the kind of a, what do you call it, starstruck moment. When I meet people like Tom G. Warrior or say Satyr and Frost of Satyricon or Isan, things like that of Emperor, to me it doesn't really feel that different because I mean they are people like me. Some are older, some are younger, but in the end they are just people. So at this point I don't feel weird meeting legends. They are just people. Of course, I feel privileged. Let's be honest about it. When I get to interview them, but meeting them like that, I mean, it wouldn't be really that much different than say meeting you. And that is not to disrespect you, but I'm merely pointing out they are people like us. In the end. So yes, I'm already used to it. There's only like one interview I felt like I have butterflies in my tummy, and that was Suicidal Tendencies Mike Muir because he was more like a teenage idol. So before I get into black metal and all, John Joe Rocks asked me if I what I think about political correctness has become a problem within black metal. Sorry, that was Nocturne asking that. Yes, I think it definitely has become one of the problems within black metal that bands are walking on eggshells. They are so worried about political correctness, worried about how they are perceived in the scene, in the media, and all. So I think, yeah, political correctness has ruined some of the festivals, some of the bands, and some of that stuff. And I don't want to do that with Nightside. Cecilia Taylor is asking what kind of experimental metal do I listen to, and she's listening to 1056 and Mirar. Now I am not in particular enjoying too much experimental metal. I think it's so often some kind of a hipster bullshit. Well, no disrespect to musicians as such, but I don't feel like I'm the core audience. Some experimental bands are interesting, but most of them, unfortunately, it feels like they're making this originality and being experimental, for the sake of it, rather than making good music. So that's it. Barbarian Blood, now the Dimension. I don't know if you knew, but latest Absurd album was done by one of the Bill Skirner guys. Lex Beltran, I'm definitely interested how Slayer comeback gigs will be. Slayer being one of my all-time loves. So yeah, we shall see how it is. I'm not feeling bad about Slayer getting back. Mart Melly is asking what is my favorite black metal vocalist. It's definitely Nocturno Calto of Dark Throne. Think of Panzerfaust era. Satyr of Satyricon is definitely one of my favorite ones also. I mean, I like the kind of a raw, raspy sound. I know a lot of people like Corvus of Korkondrus a lot. I think he's a great guy and he has good vocals. But for my personal favorites, I would go for Nocturno Calto and Satyr. Yeah, and Corvus is definitely praised as being insane with the vocals. Good job, and really, really nice guy, by the way. Carl Checker is asking, do I think the death is the end? Well, as far as I can see, death seems to be the end for our personal lives anyway. But I don't know. We don't know if there's anything after death. Oh, SK, yeah, yeah. I don't really believe in God, and if I seem like I look like a guy believing in God, well, that's a good one. Yeah, a good joke to SK. I like that you understand me very well. Cecilia Taylor, I think you also understand my humor when you with your get to the chopper thing. So yeah. So Carl Chegal, there must be something after death, but might not. We don't know. So, like SK said, skulls eaten by worms. I think it sounds like a death metal song. Skull eaten by worms. You know how it goes. So maybe that's the that's the end of life. Nocturne is asking if I have children. I have one. I have daughter, 9 years of age. Waldman, thank you for your words. I don't know if I'm a cool dude. I don't get to decide it. I try to be a decent human being. That's what I am. Nocturne, we can't really say what that experience. I mean, might maybe he was schizophrenic. Thank you, Carl, for your comment as well. I try to be cool as fuck, but maybe I'm actually cold as a frigid woman. I don't know if that joke works well translated. Nestor, I actually included Covenant in Times Before the Light in one of my Norwegian black metal crash course during my Covenant episode. So I don't know if it makes sense for me to do a classic review of that. And thank you, Nocturnal. Glad to know that you agree with me. Thank you. Thank you, Waldman, also uh, about my rants. I'm happy to hear if they're not boring. If they're interesting, good. Thank you so much. Waldman can say I have nothing new, interesting from the French metal territory. Might be something coming along the lines, but not at the moment. Mart Mela is asking if I listen to other genres or bands outside black metal. Well, yes, in fact. I don't know why people often think that Rauta is all about black metal, because I've always been more or less like a black metal slash death metal slash thrash metal slash heavy metal guy. And then I also like soundtrack music a lot. I also like a lot of dark ambient. Sometimes I can go for full Depeche Mode or listening to Turbo Necro or hard rock, things like that. I'm lying and saying like, oh, I listen to all the genres in the world. No, I'm mostly a death metal guy, black metal guy, and I would say, yeah, roughly it's maybe like 40% death metal, 40% black metal, 10 some 15% trash and heavy metal, and the rest of the 5% is something else. But I mean, like Pink Floyd is one of my favorite bands. Depeche Mode, I really fucking love that band as well. So it's complicated if I would say I'm 90% 99% metalhead. I mean, most of my reviews are of course metal music, but that doesn't mean I have favorites. And when I get to do the my record collection videos, you will learn that I have actually quite a bit of something else than just metal. So definitely there is way more than black metal or death metal. But I cannot say I am into like barbarian bloodshed, salsa, or Latin music. They're not really my cup of tea. And yeah, Mart Melee, I've tried to get Infernus of Gorgoroth for interviews a couple of times, and he has politely, more or less, chosen to decline. I mean, Tarkus Hust has been the messenger guy between me and Infernus, but no, unfortunately. I mean, I got to do a Gorgoroth interview back in the day when Gal was still in the band, but that was years before Rauta. Voltman, of course, I would love to interview all the metal bands in the world, Messiah and beyond. The thing is, I don't always have the possibility to do face to face. Cecilia Taylor, J. Weinberg has joined Suicidal Tendencies. That's interesting. Suicidal Tendencies is one of my teenager favorites. Martmele, my pleasure doing these streams. I like doing these streams because you people give me those interesting questions, and always happens the same. When I start to interview, I see the count here. There's nobody on the stream, and I'm like, okay, what should I talk about? I'm here all alone. The first few minutes, I'm just grabbing a beer, having a sip, and then like, what should I tell you really? Because nothing much is happening, and then people start showing up, and then the really interesting questions start coming up, and then that's when I get to enjoy this. Now, like now we've been running this, there's a timer, we've been doing this for over 2 hours. I don't feel bored at all. So it's not like I'm here, for the donations people are making, because I would be here like 30 minutes if there was nobody asking the questions. I would be just rambling around. Okay, so there was this festival, I was there, I did interview this and that band. Next week there will be this and that, and then I will go into a festival. Okay, bye. But because you people make this, um how to say it. It's communication back and forth. It's the community thing, which I always say. I mean, I keep repeating myself here. Let's be honest. Um, I say Rauta how I feel about it. Be it on here on the YouTube side of things or Rauta's Discord, Facebook, Instagram. I like to think this as community, not a church, but community. Like some people go, leave, but in the end, it's about people having talks with like-minded people. It's not like I'm on the fucking top of things, like being a fucking messiah or king or priest or anything like that. It's more like online thing, kind of like festival. We bump into each other and like, hey, how are you doing, man? What kind of bands you're seeing today? Do you want to fancy a beer with some talks? It's about finding like-minded people. We get to exchange ideas and we get to talk about it, and that's why I like Rauta's Discord so much, because it's not like I'm running a show there. I mean, the show keeps going on even if I'm away, if I'm sleeping, if I'm working, whatever. People are still talking to one another. With the streams, obviously, it's a little bit different because when I go offline, the whole conversation goes offline. So people, uh what I want to say, what I'm trying to say here is like, if you have the possibility to use Discord, join Rauta Discord and join for daily discussions. By daily discussions, I don't mean that you should be there every day, being active and all, but I think we have a pretty little community, online community there, where we get to talk about music. Everybody's dropping a line what they're listening to, and people like, hey, you like that band? Nice. I also like that band. And that's when the conversation starts happening. So, for example, on Rauta's Discord, we have people from, of course, from Finland, but we have from United States, we have people from India, we have people from Germany, we have people from various time zones. Some are from, like UK, some are from South Africa. So there are people from all around the world, basically. It's not a big community. We're talking about dozens of people. But the funny thing is, everybody is coming from their own background. Some are more death metal people, some are more black metal people, some are in their 20s, some are their 40s, some are their 30s. So people are like talking about stuff. It can be about music, it can be about gaming, it can be a television, it can be sometimes about politics. Everybody gets to choose their own conversation. And that's what I like with these streams also. It's this interaction. You ask me something and I try to explain. I read your comments out loud, so you don't have to follow all the stream commentary here. And we get this thing going on. And of course, when those festivals take place, and I see you, some people come to greet me, maybe take a photo, whatever. We also get to continue that conversation real life. Like, for example, SK being one of the longtime supporters, and I don't mean money here, I'm talking about like being present on streams and talking to me. Sometimes we talk in private, this and that band. And, a lot of these streams. Uh, I like to meet you people because when I feel like we have a connection, we share the same kind of humor, we share the same kind of musical taste. We get to talk about these topics, be it on festivals or online. So, like I said, it would be, for example, very, very nice to meet a lot of you people out there during festivals like Steelfest, Inferno, Beyond the Gates, wherever I'm going and wherever you are going. Hopefully, of course, the whole planet is so fucking big and traveling costs. So I don't expect you to come to the selected festivals I'm going to. But when you are, like I said, pull me by the sleeve, come say hello, and like, hey, I was on your stream and we talking about this and that. And then we can talk about these same topics, real life, face to face, like real human beings. That's part of the charm, in my opinion, in metal music. You're like, we might be from different parts of the world, we might be different age, but we share the common taste for good music, be it black metal, death metal, whatever. And Voltman, yes, I have heard the latest Borknagar LP or album. I actually commented a couple of weeks ago on my threads. I'm gonna link you people my threads account because some of the stuff I review there quickly might not be something that I get physical format, and as such, I don't necessarily review in Rauta. But yeah, I try to uh, I try to talk about music beyond my reviews. Carl Checkal, we have actually been talking about Shining interview already maybe 5 years ago with Nicholas Quarforth. I still think we need to do it, and luckily we have mutual friends. So let's hope some year, someplace, Shining interview will happen. And yes, Cecilia Taylor, I like that you people post different kind of music. It doesn't have to be the same kind of music everybody else is talking about. Just post it, share the love when it comes to music and all. Um, Andre is asking what is my favorite game. Well, it comes to video games. My all-time favorite games is World of Warcraft. I spent 6 years playing that game, made friends real life, even dated a girl, goth metal lady from Norway when I was playing World of Warcraft. Such interesting times. Um, oh, Mark Miller's favorite bands is him. Well, I can understand that. It was a very popular band in Finland. Nocturne, I like that you're a black metal industrial goth noise guy. That is all more fascinating when you're coming from totally different uh, background. Never more rules is asking no reggaeton. No, I'm another reggae guy. Sorry. Um, Nocturne is asking which bands I would go out to away of to interview. Let's be honest about it. I could interview all the bands in the world if that was possible, especially metal bands. But if I got to choose only one band to interview before I die, I guess it would be Burzum. That or Metallica. Name your pick. Um, Tanhua is asking what were my favorite acts at Turku Saatanalle. Um, well, yeah, Warlock being friends and all was of course very cool to see. Sex Dress was interesting. Not so much music point of view, but more like cult point of view. Got to see it finally. It was interesting to see Deus Mortem live, and of course my good friends band Flag was nice to see their first show ever. In general, I was pretty much interested in most bands, in a way, all bands. Unfortunately, I missed Darkestra. That was a shame because I think the best interview I did at Turku Saatana was with them. But yeah, I think there were no boring bands at all. But I don't also have an absolute favorite. I spent really good time with Helheim guys, having really good and deep chat and befriending one of them even more than before. So that was also really good to see. But maybe it's the first time bands I get to see are the most interesting because then I don't have the previous experiences to compare to. So in that sense, bands like Deus Mortem, Flag, um, Outlaw, Sextras, I guess in a way they were more interesting. But yeah, hard to say absolutely one band above all. Hello, Maciek. What is my favorite Polish black metal? Graveland or Mgła, followed by Terrestrial Hospice. So many good bands coming from Poland. Ashen Grove is asking, what have I ever thought about going to festivals in Canada, Quebec? Well, I love Quebecian scene, but the thing is, it's so expensive. and we don't really have much cash. We don't have much budget in Rauta. So traveling to Canada would probably cost twice as much as to say going to a festival in Norway or Sweden. And that's why places like Psycho, Las Vegas, or Maryland Death Fest, which are on my radar, have been out of the question. I mean, if we only had more money, if we had more, say, a sponsor for Rauta, obviously I would fucking visit Mercedes Morts or Psycho Las Vegas fucking every year if I could. I know they are not running every year, but nonetheless, I would definitely love to go to places like US and Canada for festival reports and interview bands that are playing there. But unfortunately, traveling costs so much money, and Rauta is not really doing much money. Waldman is asking what is my favorite Depeche Mode tracks. I guess my all-time favorite would be "Try Walking in My Shoes" or "Walking in My Shoes" would be the name. Um, "Barrel of a Gun" would be among my favorite songs. "In Your Room." Um, I guess those would be the ones that come to my mind first. Um, there's one track I'm trying to get into my mind, but I cannot get the name. But it will come to my mind. But I have plenty of Depeche Mode tracks which are really good. And thank you, Nico. Thank you so much for donation. Every dollar, every euro counts. So thank you so much for supporting Rauta. The money will go to Rauta budget, and meaning we get to travel a little bit more and do a little bit more interviews. Thank you so much. Um, God damn it, it's almost 30 minutes past midnight. I really have to get to bed soon because I have climbing tomorrow with my daughter, and she will probably wake me up in 8 hours. So please make your final questions. We've been doing the stream for more than 2 hours now. And the next date, by the way, I need to get it set. Um, fuck. It probably means I have to take that week, and I'm now giving you a date when next stream is supposed to take place. That is most likely going to be 13th of April. So exactly 5 weeks. I mean, I could do it on the 6th of April, but then is when my Inferno recap is coming. So let's see if I will change these dates. So the next stream is either 6th of April or 13th of April, and the Inferno 2024 recap will be either of those. Now I have planned Inferno 2024 recap for the 6th and stream for the 13th. Same thing as with Turku Saatanalla recap. I decided to do stream this weekend, and Turku Saatanalla recap should be next weekend. But these are sometimes interchangeable. All right, still final questions. Tim Fuyu is late because he doesn't have any beer. I feel sorry for you, man. There should be beer, metal, or sex for you. Gingerbread Roxys, have ever heard Ashublan Hani. Unfortunately, I know. And Fartain Adnes is asking, who is Marty? Marty is my alter ego. I have the Marty glasses here to prove my point. Marty is international metal man, always more or less enjoying alcohol and being a silly person in question. It's a comedical character, not to be taken seriously. So don't take Marty the metal international metal man too seriously. It's just a joke character. Nocturne is asking if I could live anywhere in the USA. Where would you pick? Um, this is hard because obviously I'm not too I don't know USA well enough to give my final answer, but it would be somewhere warmer than in Finland. But most likely, I wouldn't go to places like Texas or Florida. So I'm guessing maybe it could be something like California or the state of New York, maybe somewhere in New England. I mean, we get our share of cold and winter and cold and ice and shit like that. So preferably, I wouldn't go like places like Alaska or whatever, where it's really cold and a lot of snow and ice. And then again, I wouldn't probably feel too comfortable living in places like Florida. But it would be in the coastal area because I love sea. So let's say it could really be something like San Francisco. It could be something like nearby Los Angeles. Why big cities? Now you are asking why big cities? Because there would be interesting shows and airports to travel to different places. But it would be a seaside place. It could be Boston or some place nearby Boston where my friends used to live. I really like the scene because I could really get to New York within 4 hours on a bus, and it was still quite warm. So some seaside state in the United States if I was living in the United States. But I couldn't know more exact location than that. Yes, Waldman, we shall meet in real life one day, definitely. Silver Snake probably has a new interesting question here. I'm gonna read it out loud. What do you think about gay people in black metal? What is my opinion about homosexuality in generality? Well, I don't really give a damn if people are gay or straight. Each person have their own preferences, and people are not like we really can't choose what we like. I love pussy. I love tits. I love gorgeous women. I'm straight as fuck. But those people who like other men, like men liking men, being gay, or ladies liking ladies, or people liking non binary genders, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it's fine, really, because that is just not something we choose to do. It just comes within. Um, I guess gay people might not have the easiest of times in the world of extreme metal. Then again, Gaul from previously Gorgoroth, but nowadays Trelldom and Gaul's word probably has figured out that you can't be a gay guy in extreme metal community and do well. So, or Rob Halford, ask him about being gay. There was this British guy who contacted me a few years ago, a Rauta follower, at least he used to be. Really nice gentleman from UK. And he told me, like back in the 70s or 80s, it wasn't so easy to be a British gay guy in metal community. Not finding a spouse was too easy. But he seemed like doing nice nowadays. He had a boyfriend and were doing well. And I guess it shows some hope that you can be gay and enjoying good time and all that stuff. What I really like about these things in metal communities and metal scenes in general is that where a lot of Christians and Muslims and things like that might be upset about homosexuality and all. In metal, we're like, yeah, if that's blasphemy to you, we're fucking enjoying it. So be as gay or as straight as you are. I don't really give a damn. If you like to suck cock, if you like to eat some pussy, or if you don't like either of these things, if you're asexual, I don't really care. It's none of my business. I know what I like, and that counts for me. If my friends like doing that kind of stuff, hey, I don't give a damn. Well, do what you want. Just don't bring kids into the game. Well, now Barbarian Blood is asking, do I like gay? I'm kind of indifferent. I don't care if you're gay or straight. It doesn't really matter to me. If you're like gay person, fine. Just don't suck my dick before asking a permission. That's all I can say. Um, Mark Mele is asking an interesting question about who was the least pleasant interview I've ever done, for whatever reason. I'm not gonna lie about it. It was Au Renoir, which was disappointing because I like the band a lot and I like the guys in the band a lot. I mean, they are veterans in the scene and all that stuff. It wasn't like the people were annoying, but they felt like reluctant to do the interview. This was, mind you, in 2018. Rauta was a lot smaller back then. I don't know if that has affected or not, but they felt like uninspired. I hope to fix that someday because I don't think it was anything personal. They just felt, I guess, tired in doing the interview. So, in that sense, the Au Noir interview is so far the, how to say, least pleasing experience I've done. 11 is asking what I think about band Kvelertak. I think they're very energetic and they have their own thing going on, but they are not really my cup of tea when it comes to the music. Maciek is asking when some interview is happening with Goat Moon. Goat Moon interview most likely never happening. Miko Aspa, I don't think. He said first yes, then he said no. So I don't know. I'm in touch with Miko Aspa. We shall see if that will happen eventually. And Motibi Shining interview might be indeed a nightmare to interview. You never know how it is with Quarfort. SK, yeah, it was nice to see Deus Mortem and the guy Ma- Martek was a really, really nice guy to talk to. And then I had to talk with the drummer. He was quite boozy. I even teased Deus Mortem guys um, like you Polish people cannot handle drinks because there was a little bit of accident. But yeah, that happens. And Nocturne, I would love to interview Vogue, but I think Vogue is way too hard to interview. I mean, if I get to choose one band ever or artist to interview, it would be most likely Marty Vikernes. So Rauta traveling to France and doing Burzum interview. But he never replied me on Twitter when I asked if there's a possibility to do Burzum interview. Um, Mart Mele, I pretty much explained my expectations about Steelfest 2024 in my preview videos. It will be interesting, but I will not go through it again here because I've already done a couple of preview videos of Steelfest 2024. But I expect it to be a great show, great event. Um, what else? Good night, Carl Checkall. Good night, Nevermore Rules. Nice to have you here on stream. Thank you, Cecilia Taylor. This was fun indeed. Um, Andre is asking what I thought about the band Vas Satanas. I can't say I have heard it. So, unfortunately, so. Cecilia Taylor, new dog update. I gotta bring the dog to the stream someday. Waldman, I cannot promise you the exact date of the stream yet, but most likely it will be the 13th. We shall see. Cecilia, I don't know anything about the Carolina states, so can't really comment. SK, if you're gonna pay me to make a visit to Tennessee, goddamn, I will be there. If you're crazy enough to come back with me with the budget, I will be fucking glad to visit there. Let's make it happen. 11 is asking if I like the Finnish punk band Chlamydia. No, I really didn't like it back in the days, and most likely never will. I mean, I don't hate it, but it's not my type of thing. Oh, New Jersey would be nice to visit Barbarian Blood. Hey, come on, Bon Jovi is from New Jersey. But yeah, New Jersey. Too bad I didn't visit New Jersey when I was in New York City. Yeah, and Bible Belt. God damn it. I probably couldn't handle living in a Bible Belt in the United States of all places. I don't know how SK can do it, but maybe he's too cool of a bloke that he can fucking handle it. But yeah, let's be honest about it. As much as I would like to visit, say, places like Ohio, and some of those upper states, with the big lakes and all, the states are around Canadian border. Let's be honest about it. We get our share of cold and ice and shit. So no, I'd definitely go way more south. So, like, I'm thinking again. Yeah, New Jersey, New York area, some of the New England states. I think they would be nice. I would be by the Atlantic Ocean nonetheless, and I wouldn't have to freeze my ass off. Like I said, Boston was great. Made me a New England Patriots fan. Then again, I had really good time in San Francisco. I had great time in Los Angeles area. I had good time in San Diego. So, well, California all the way. So, lengthy piece of earth. I don't know how it would be in, I don't know, Washington, like Seattle and all, because it might be a great thing to live by the Pacific Ocean. So fuck it. But yeah, yeah, yeah. Ocean states, definitely. Well, seaside states. I mean, visiting Texas was fun. Let's be honest about it. Visiting New Mexico was fun, but I'd rather live by seaside than inland, so to say. Uh, Cameron, can you be more precise about the Carolean states? Martin, yes, I of course have listened to Life Lover. I have some Life Lover in my collection as well. Interesting band, and I actually got to interview some of the guys involved in Live Lover scene before I got to found Rauta. So all that. Barbarian Blood. I visited New York City three times: 2009, 2011, and 2013. Well, Cecilia Taylor, if you invite me over to Virginia, I'd be happy to visit. Nocturna, that would be horrible price to get the tickets. I mean, Finnish bands coming to play in the states, the plane tickets are horrible. Well, if you can somehow, I don't know, go fund whatever, me and my cameraman to US, we would fucking love to come. I mean, I'm not denying that. Like, I mean, of course, we would come there and do some stuff, like interview people and see how things are right there. I mean, if it wasn't about the money, we would be already be there. But like I said, getting all the plane tickets and then doing stuff. Well, yeah, it's a little bit complicated. But yeah, I mean, it would be definitely cool to see. Um, yeah, I know everybody in Horno, of course. I know some people in Destroyer 666 too. And yeah, would be awesome to visit Maryland Death Fest. Like I said, if it wasn't about money, I mean the plane tickets and all, it would be awesome to come. Nice barbarian blood, that you're from New Jersey. Cool. Barbarian blood that you mentioned. When I was you know, visiting my Finnish friends who lived by Boston. They actually were like in a building that was, I think, owned by someone from, I think it was Ukraine or Croatia. Anyway, from Europe. Anyway, so like living in US, but originally they were something like from Eastern Europe. But I'm not sure if they were Ukraine, might have been Croatia, something like that. But yeah, Nocturna. I mean, it's expensive for a Finnish band to come to play in the United States. I mean, Archcode have done it, and of course some other bands, but most bands, nope, because it's just too expensive. I mean, I would love to play in the United States with Nightside, but we're relatively unknown. Nobody's going to book us there. Andre, unfortunately, I'm not familiar with Orlok. Camera, okay. Sorry, I didn't get the joke about Carolina States. Damn, SK. You're making me guilty because I have to leave and you're now donating more money. I mean, thank you so much. You're already done. Hey, come on. $100 for the whole show and all. And I'm like feeling guilty because I really should be going. It's like almost 1 a.m. So sorry. Sorry, I mean, thank you, but come on. Lucas, thank you for asking. Lifting weights has been going pretty okay. Getting older, but today I was able to pull okay 243 in deadlift. Um, my squat has been a little bit up and down. Lately, I have had really good squat sessions. This week was a little bit like, nah, I didn't go too well. Then again, bench was a little bit better, but yep, keeping it healthy and keep lifting 4 days a week. Angar from Barcelona. Somehow it rings a bell, but I think I might be confusing it with some other band. So I'm not sure. Yeah, SK, it would be great if I could really collaborate with J Dog. So it would be fucking great. To be honest, personally, if I was coming to United States with Rauta, let's assume me and a cameraman, or just me. I mean, for me, it wouldn't really matter what's the size of this metal fest. Of course, it would be great if it was bigger because then I could interview even more. But as an experience coming back to United States for even a visit, I mean, I I couldn't be picky. How to say, beggars cannot be choosers. So of course, I would be just love to come for whatever reason. Never more rules. It's funny that you asked about the guy about wearing the Nightside shirt. I actually met the guy at Turku Saatanalle. It became evident that our bass player actually knew the guy. When I mentioned I met this guy with the John Nutveid look, like having the arms crossed and all that stuff, looking cool, shaved hair and all that stuff with Nightside shirt. It was a friend of our bass player, and I noticed that guy talking to my friend at Turku Saatanalle. So I went to say hello to my friend, and then I said, like, "Hey, did you realize why you were in the video and why I commended you having like the best shirt ever on the cruise?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, now I get it." So yeah, he got it later on. Why I was complimenting his nightside shirt on the cruise. So not exactly a friend of mine, but a friend of a friend, basically. Yeah, Nocturne, I spoke to the Archco drummer at Turku Saatanalle, and they told me like they're going to on a tour in US at some point. Cecilia Taylor, unfortunately, I've been really lazy with Twitch streaming. I haven't really streamed any games for months now. I kind of stopped doing Twitch or gaming streams in general because I felt like it was a hassle to set them up, and then there was nobody there. So I haven't really streamed up lately. But I think I would stream if people are still interested in my gaming streams. I could still do them because while I haven't been playing much lately, I mean, when I play on my Xbox, it's really easy for me to stream on now that I'm thinking of which one it wait. Xbox had I think YouTube, and PlayStation had both Twitch and YouTube. So if people want, I can still stream games, but I have really haven't been doing that for a while. But yeah, let me know if you want me to do some of those gaming streams, and I will bring them back. I think the latest game I did on stream was when I did Spider-Man 2, and this was probably in October. Probably did some Cyberpunk streams on Xbox on YouTube later on, but nothing since that. Okay, this Metal Threat festival, I'm taking a look now. Doesn't have bands announced yet, unless they are on Facebook. Underground US tour booking an annual festival in Illinois called Metal Threat Fest. So it seems like nothing much is happening. Barbarian Blood, that's a nice story, by the way. Okay, so click buy tickets, and then it should show. Because on Facebook, they didn't have anything. Oh, yeah, now I see the bands. It's weird that they don't show the bands, on the main page. Now I get to see Disturbed 666, fucking good. Horna, yeah, good. Sinister, pretty interesting there. I mentioned here as one of the, you know, headliners. I mean, they are obviously classic death metal band from Netherlands, but really that big? Anyway, nice guys. I met them at Steelfest a few years ago. One of the earlier bands I got to interview on Rauta. Sabbath, yeah, pretty cool. Ancient Rites, Disaster, Master, God Dethroned. Oh, Brobrium. Wasn't that the Jesus band? Kind of interesting. Then some smaller names. It's weird that they're putting Usurper on the bottom line because, I mean, they're quite old and cult name. Okay, weird. Yeah, looks pretty interesting for a fest. Yeah, I would definitely go if this was like nearby. Yeah, I could go. But it's funny to see Horna as headliner because in Finland, I mean, they're relatively big, but not that big. I mean, they're no Beherit, they're no Impel Nazarene, in my opinion. So it's kind of a weird to see them as headliners here, but it's good. I mean, of course, I'm happy for the guys, knowing Horna guys, and they've been working hard for decades now. Oh, there's Corpsest from Finland also. Yeah, pretty cool. There's quite small death metal name, but anyway. Then there's some names I don't know, like Communion, um, or Schizo. I don't remember hearing them. God Dethroned, I of course known. I remember vaguely Luctus. I know name Vergoat, but what is this? Euronymous? Doesn't ring a bell. This must be Adorio from UK, I think. And then there's one logo I don't really recognize. But yeah, seems like cool. Kind of a Steelfest like, but just smaller and fewer bands. Thank you, SK. You're donating too much, man. You're wasting your entire paycheck here. Thank you so much for the information. SK is literally like funding me to go Norway and get drunk. Oh, just joking here. Thank you so much, people. This been a pleasure. Almost 3 hours in. But now I really, really, really get to bed. Whiskey bottle says bye because, like said, in about 7 to 8 hours, my kid is probably going to wake me up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's already 1 a.m. And trust me, I don't want to be the bad dad who is unable to perform when we go bouldering tomorrow with my kid because that was taking too much time on a stream, talking to strangers, having a couple of whiskeys. Um, so, once again, thank you, people, for interesting questions. Was my pleasure to do it. Thank you, all the people, SK and Brian Mons and Jones Rocks and everybody else who, um, you donated the money. Thank you so much. This was unexpected, really. Um, really, you made my day. Not because of the money, obviously, but I mean, it helps. Let's be honest about it. Let's not fool ourselves. So it really helps getting our trips funded, and more importantly, it I think brings us this community, what I'm talking about, together. So thank you for your good questions and interesting takes. And I hope to see you guys around at festivals and all that stuff. Tia, you and me, we got to meet again after Turku Saatanalle at Steelfest, I guess. And the rest of you people, if you come to Inferno, if you come to Steelfest, if you come to Beyond the Gates, um, just pull me by the sleeve. And SK, Barbarian Blood, Cecilia Taylor, whoever you are in the United States, I hope to meet you some point in US soil. Let's see if we can pull it off at some point. The funding is not there yet, but we will figure out something, some point, all that stuff. And now I have to say good night and take care and listen to some good shit. And once again, don't be shy to ask me just anything regarding Rauta, myself, and all that stuff. If I'm not comfortable of replying, obviously I will say, hey, don't ask me that, but not likely to happen. So anyway, now I say to you, good night and stay metal, stay brutal, and stay healthy, stay alive. Remember the talk we had about death and life earlier on. So that's it. Now off we go and all you Patreon supporters, get your asses ready for the next interview. I'm gonna share a link with you about sextras from Brazil. Take care and bye bye.